Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. For years, politicians, environmentalists, and health advocates have been trying to find solutions for the Tijuana River sewage crisis. Now, San Diego's biggest business organization is weighing in. KPBS environment reporter Tammy Murga says they've come up with a 5-point plan to prevent more pollution.
Even with ever-growing awareness about the binational Tijuana River sewage crisis, its ongoing challenges and milestones are complex. A new report commissioned by the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce strives to keep the focus on solutions. It lays out 5 key ways Mexico and the U.S. can end the crisis.
What changes today is not the urgency, it's the clarity of the path forward. This 5-pillar framework gives us a comprehensive binational guide for action.
Chris Cate is the Chamber's president. He says those 5 pillars explain how to stop wastewater from entering the seasonal river, restore water quality, and prevent future infrastructure failures. Doug Linden is a retired engineer from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and Maria Elena Giner is the former commissioner who oversees the wastewater plant at the border. They wrote the report.
We did intentionally engage people that had worked in these areas for decades, had a ton of experience and expertise.
Emily Young is with the Prebys Foundation. The report is the foundation's latest investment in addressing the sewage crisis. Previously, it helped fund research showing pollution affects both the water and the air. The report lays out solutions both countries are already working on. But it also proposes new measures, like establishing a binational maintenance fund and a binational committee to unblock stalled projects. Young says she hopes decision makers will use the report to guide where funding can best make a difference. Tammy Murga, KPBS News.
Well, we have a very significant round of heat and warmth building into the area here early in the season for this, but we're going to get pretty hot in the coming days through the weekend into next week. Tonight, we get a quiet, cool night down to 47 in Ramona, 52 into San Diego. Pleasant weather out there, 53 into Borrego Springs. Most of us will be mainly clear. There will be some clouds that roll in offshore, but heat advisories are in effect here Thursday morning through Friday. There will be more to follow. Details ahead.
San Diego's largest school district says it's found ways to close its budget gap for the next fiscal year. But as KPBS education reporter Katie Anastas tells us, things could still change as the state finalizes its budget.
Back in December, the San Diego Unified School District was facing a $47 million deficit for the next fiscal year. A lot has changed since then. Last week, the school board voted to eliminate more than 200 secretary, clerk, and other classified positions. That's expected to save about $19 million. The district has also brought in more revenue from interest income and an insurance settlement. There are also new expenses. The district reached an agreement with its teachers union in February that gives monthly payments to special education teachers whose caseloads are too high. Overall, district leaders say they're expecting to balance next year's budget. But the following year, the district could be facing an $87 million deficit. Superintendent Fabiola Bagula says now is the time to start planning.
We have a projected balanced budget for the 26-27 school year, but we need to continue to refine our multi-year plan leading up to the final budget adoption.
The district adopts its budget in June, typically before the state finalizes its budget. For now, the district has to make assumptions, like how much grant funding it will get from the state.
So if additional resources do materialize, we want to be thoughtful and strategize about how they could support our students and schools.
The district held a community input session last night. District leaders asked attendees what they should prioritize as they continue working on the budget. People who attended said they want after-school tutoring, language immersion, and trades programs. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
Transportation officials today broke ground on a bike and transit project on University Avenue. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it's been planned since at least 2012.
The University Bikeway will run 2.8 miles from San Diego's border with La Mesa to Estrella Avenue in City Heights. It'll include separated bike lanes, measures to prevent speeding, and new boarding platforms for some of the county's highest ridership bus routes. Traffic collisions on the corridor have killed at least 4 people over the past decade, including a 6-year-old boy last October.
This is a safety and beautification project, and it's one that addresses not theoretical safety hazards, but real life ones. This is a deadly stretch of road, and the investments that are being made here are going to save lives.
The project is one of the most expensive bike projects in the county, with a budget just shy of $44.6 million. More than 2/3 of the funding is coming from state and federal sources. City Council President Joe LaCava, who serves as vice chair of the Regional Transportation Planning Agency, SANDAG, said the high cost is because it's not just a bike project. It's a near total reconstruction of the roadway that will fix potholes and make sidewalks more accessible for wheelchair users and parents with strollers.
Things are expensive, price tags go up every day, but I think this is a worthwhile investment in a community that often is under-resourced. And we want to send a message that no matter where you live, no matter how you choose to get around, that we're going to make sure that it's as safe as possible for you to do so.
Rich Ficker lives in La Mesa and rides his bike on this stretch of University almost every day.
Well, there's been some close calls, yeah. People just pulling out in front of me, or people actually riding too close to me, and that's a little scary, So I've had a couple times like, whoa, kind of scary.
He says he's noticed a lot of improvements to bike lanes all across San Diego that make his trips feel safer and less stressful.
I ride out to the new park that's out by Snapdragon Stadium, and they've got those trails buffered now, and it's a big change. Yeah, it's really nice.
The University Bikeway is scheduled to open to the public in September 2027. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, nations start to tap oil reserves to relieve the pressure from the war with Iran. That's at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Day 12 of the war with Iran, and there are new attacks on ships near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. sources say Iran is putting mines in the water. Brian Abel is in Washington with the latest.
The United States says it's destroyed mine-laying Iranian vessels as President Trump, in an interview today, reiterated his stance that the war with Iran will end soon. Trump telling Axios there's, quote, practically nothing left to target. Trump also told Axios, quote, anytime I want it to end, it will end. The war is going great. It was just Monday when the president said the U.S. was leaving some important targets in Iran for possible later attacks. Yet today, the U.S. announced the strikes on multiple Iranian naval ships, including 16 mine-laying vessels, as sources say Iran began laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway between Iran and U.S. Gulf state allies. The strait, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world, has effectively ground to a halt, experts say, with almost no oil or shipping cargo coming through. Multiple ships have been attacked in or near the strait, according to the UK's maritime agency. Thailand's Royal Navy says one is theirs. The situation leading some of the biggest shipping companies like Maersk to steer clear.
We're only going to act if we feel that the safety of our crew, the safety of our assets, the safety of our customers' cargo can be guaranteed.
Meanwhile, new images are emerging that appear to show U.S. Tomahawk missile fragments at the sites of a strike on an Iran school that, according to Iranian state media, left at least 168 children and 14 teachers killed. The White House says the Pentagon will publicly release its investigative report into the strike. In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
Energy prices ticked up in February before strikes on Iran sent oil prices soaring. That's according to the latest inflation report from the federal government. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at the other ups and downs and what's next.
Inflation held steady last month, according to government data released Wednesday. But economists warn a long conflict in Iran could push future prices higher.
If the conflict drags on and we start to see price increases in other consumer goods because of the increase in energy that increases the cost of production for the producers, then I think consumers are going to feel it in their pocketbooks a lot more.
Annual inflation was unchanged in February at 2.4%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The report's uptick in energy and gasoline prices between January and February didn't even account for the recent spike at the pumps now, because the February data was compiled before the U.S. and Israel struck Iran on February 28th. Aixa Diaz of AAA says spring is already a time of year when gas prices typically climb.
Springtime is when you've got spring break travelers, you've got gasoline demand going up, the weather's getting nicer, more people want to get out. And also summer blend gasoline will hit the market soon, and that's a more expensive blend of gasoline.
February's inflation report also showed overall increases in the cost of shelter and food. Highly imported goods feeling the impact of President Donald Trump's tariffs, like apparel, household furnishings, and coffee, and medical care. The state of the overall economy may depend upon how much price pressure consumers can take.
Economists have been surprised before at how robust consumer spending is. So I think the impact of sort of this inflationary run on consumer spending would be a little bit more unpredictable, in my opinion.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
And those rising gas prices are creating a ripple effect on California's economy. As gas prices climb higher and higher, Charlie LaPastore reports it's becoming harder for small businesses and gig workers to keep up.
As a small business, it's really hard for us to keep up with this price increase for gas.
Marvin and MJ Bermudez started Casa Pinoy 4 years ago in pursuit of their dreams, to share MJ's cooking of authentic Filipino food. The married couple has owned and operated their food truck since 2024 in the Lathrop Food Plaza.
And they say this is the closest they can get to the Philippines. My wife has a passion of making Filipino food, and we want to spread the culture, around the San Joaquin area, and of course we go to the neighboring counties too.
MJ told me they travel 2 to 3 times a week to Sacramento, the Bay Area, Tri-Valley, and Stanislaus County. According to AAA last Thursday, the national average for a gallon of regular gas jumped nearly 27 cents compared to the week prior.
3 weeks ago, it was like $3, around $4 for a gallon of gas, and then right now it's $6. So that's definitely a huge leap, like $2, $3 more on our expenses. So it's really hurting us right now.
Basically, instead of spending more money on the stuff that we need on the food truck, now we're gonna spend more money for our travels.
Maraming salamat po, mabuhay, all the very best to your business during this time.
Salamat, maraming salamat.
Agyaman kami.
Mandeep Kaur was picking up pizzas at Little Caesars and does around 20 deliveries a day.
It's too much high. Maybe 3 and 4 months ago, in the $3.99. This time is $4.99. Is gas price. It's too much.
In Tijuana's red light district, thousands of women rely on sex work to survive. But a new study from San Diego State University says financial support and training can improve their lives. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco talked with the lead researcher about the impact.
The study followed 120 female sex workers over 3 years. The women took part in a program that combined small business loans with health education. Elizabeth Reed is the lead researcher.
We found meaningful improvements in financial stability, reduced substance use, increased savings, improved condom negotiation, and greater self-confidence.
The program is called Estima, the Spanish word for self-esteem. Participants receive small loans up to $1,000 and training to start businesses, from selling cosmetics and cleaning products to catering food. Elisa Sabatini with Los Niños de Baja California helped run the program.
The trainings that occur are related to women and violence, nutrition and health education, sort of women's health, and then also business support.
Reed says one of the most powerful parts of the program was the support women found in the groups.
Many participants had never disclosed their involvement in sex work due to stigma, And I think the groups really created this trusted space where women could talk openly, share strategies, and support each other.
Sabatini says the impact has lasted well beyond the original study.
The program is now in its 12th year. Given an opportunity, they can really fly.
Researchers say the results show that combining economic opportunity with education and community support can help improve health and safety for women in vulnerable situations. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
With tax season underway, tax scams are on the rise. If you receive a letter or call from someone claiming to be the Internal Revenue Service, how can you be sure it's legitimate? Jen Sullivan talks to the IRS about how to identify scams and keep your personal information safe.
From text messages to phone calls.
We are reaching you to inform you that IRS is filing a lawsuit against you.
Urgent messages claiming to be from the Internal Revenue Service. But more likely, it's a scam.
And the bad thing about scammers and schemers is they change their tactics, so there's always a new thing that they're using.
Stacey Engel with the IRS says if there is an issue with your taxes or if you owe money, the IRS will send you a letter in the mail. She says the IRS will never contact you through a text message and will only call or email you if you've given them permission to do so. If someone does call claiming to be the IRS, Engel says tell the caller you want to verify who they are. Ask questions.
We are not going to get mad at you if you say, I'm not giving you any information. The IRS will explain to you what your balance is. They will let you pay via check, money order, direct deposit, credit card, debit card.
The IRS will then direct you to make a payment online or by mail. They will never demand payment over the phone.
If an IRS employee calls you, they are assigned your account, so their name should be on any notice that you received.
Engel says the letter will also include a QR code, which will take you to the IRS website. When filing online, how can you protect your personal information, especially if you need to email your W-2 to an accountant?
Emailing any documents with your Social Security number is not a great idea.
Kristen Lewis with identity protection company Aura says black out all personal information before sending it. Never work on tax documents using a public Wi-Fi network. And if you are sending personal data, use password-protected encryption. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Well, we're getting into a hot spell here all the way down to the coastline in Southern California. So we're dealing with heat gradually stepping up, building Thursday and Friday. Record-challenging highs in places like Ramona, for example. Not just Thursday and Friday, but even into early next week. No rain in sight. Very dry, hot pattern here for us early in the season. Not tonight, though. Clear skies down to 52. Very pleasant and cool. We're going to want to bottle that up and maybe save it for later because heat will be building when we take a look at our heat advisories. These are in effect Thursday and Friday, and there will be more to follow through the weekend. Right up to the coastline, that offshore breeze carrying the heat to the beaches. So Thursday, the heat builds near record warmth. We're not mincing words here. It's just a big orange zone across the entire Southwest. And locally, we're looking at 92 into Escondido and Ramona, 94 in El Cajon. San Diego itself, 81, still with the benefit of the ocean on our doorstep. Up in the mountains, 62 at Mount Laguna, but 91 into Borrego Springs. So record-challenging highs. Here are some California cities. That's San Jose in the background there. Going to be up into the upper 70s, almost to a record high there. But locally, Ramona, among all these cities, Ramona has the best chance of breaking a record high for the date. So a steamy one out there. Ramona making a run to 92. The record high for tomorrow's date is 90 from 2007. Suddenly steamy here Friday, breaking out the red on the map. Hot weather out there, and some more examples across various parts of the Southwest. Again, strong candidates for record-breaking heat. Reno, Nevada, up to our north, Burbank, California, and the LA metro. And Ramona, we're going to go 92. That would break the record. The record for Friday's date is 89 from 1997, blasting past that by 3 degrees. More record-challenging heat. There is a cold front, a little snow way up in Utah. Not for us, though. we're going to stay dry and very, very warm. So the coast, you're going to be around 83 here Thursday and Friday. We get a little relief into early the next week and even this weekend right along the coastline, but on a broader scale, the southwest does stay hot. Inland areas, low 90s Thursday and Friday. The heat backs off a little bit for a lot of us. In the mountains here, we're going to see kind of a steadier state situation, and temperatures actually rise next week in the inland areas and into the deserts. Again, we're going to be dealing with some pretty good heat out there, consistently in the 90s. And in the deserts, unlike the coastline, the hottest day may end up being Monday. So kind of a trade-off. Thursday, Friday, hottest along the coast. Early next week, the heat builds, but mainly in the interior. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Today, S&S Friendly Ranch is a gathering place rooted in community and ancestral connection. It began in the 1980s with two siblings trying to build a life in San Diego. KPBS arts reporter Audie McAfee spoke with their granddaughters about how they are carrying that dream forward.
The two S's in S&S Friendly Ranch stand for siblings Sim Wallace and Sarah Buncombe, the founders of the 10-acre ranch in the Tijuana River Valley. After migrating from Texas in the early 1970s and settling in San Diego, the siblings were searching for a place to board their horses. Diamond Brandon is Sim Wallace's granddaughter and remembers the story of how her grandfather and his sister took over the land after the original owner could no longer care for it.
And when he came to this place, the owner at the time basically said he was getting older. His family didn't want to continue the work that he was doing, and he told him to make him an offer. So instead of finding a place where he would have to rent to board his horse, he made the decision to, purchase land in the city of San Diego. So he and his sister pulled their money together, and it's been in our family since 1980.
Brandon says that while the ranch continues her grandfather's legacy, its purpose has evolved.
I will say it's been such a beautiful experience, a very empowering experience. I'm born and raised in San Diego, and so I've seen Black businesses close. I've seen Black families displaced from neighborhoods that were typically Black. I've seen the voice and representation of Black culture diminished, and we're fighting to build that back up.
Taught at a young age that when you have land, you build something, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Brandon created what is now the only Black-owned ranch in San Diego, a space she believes should be safe and welcoming for everyone. Today, the ranch serves as an event space for the broader San Diego community.
Lots of space. There are people who come for family reunions. We've had some Juneteenth celebrations out here. Most recently, we had over 700 people participate in Blacktoberfest with SD Melanin. Folks rented out for private events as well, birthday parties, anniversaries. We've had a quince or two. It's been really dope.
The ranch still includes some animals, 3 horses, a handful of goats, and several chickens. But Brandon says they plan to phase that portion out because of limited staffing.
We're very small, and the other work is like pulling, so we don't ever want to have a situation where animals not getting the care they deserve.
In addition to hosting events, the ranch partners with community organizations. One of them is Azili Wellness, a collective focused on healing through ancestral practices and homegrown goods. The group began operating informally about 3 years ago and became an LLC in 2024. Jazze Armani Buncombe is the co-founder of Azili and the granddaughter of founder Sarah Buncombe. She also serves as the ranch's director of agriculture.
I've learned that my people have been doing things like this for a long time, and I've learned more of where I come from and just how easier it is to step into those roles once I realize it's not that crazy. It's not that new.
Currently, agriculture takes up about 1 acre of the land, but they plan to expand to 2 acres by the end of the year. Buncombe says part of Azili's work involves preserving seeds from the crops they grow. And with the ongoing environmental challenges in the Tijuana River Valley, the ranch needs to be strategic about what they plant.
Environmentally, it's important because seeds have memory, just like people and our DNA. And so if I wanted to make a seed here that's more water resilient, I can cultivate that seed here for a number of years, giving it less water, save the seeds that are doing the best with less water, and every year those seeds will be better and better with doing with less water and also more adapted to the bioregion.
Lucy Chishugi is one of the owners at Azili. She met Buncombe and Brandon after visiting the ranch several years ago. Over time, she became part of the team. She says she's grateful to contribute to the land's deep-rooted relationship with San Diego.
This space really allowed me to be a student and opened me up to students who were in transition of teaching without even knowing it, like Jazé. And through our friendship and relationship, just being able to offer each other service when it came to literally their family's land, something that's very sacred to them.
Chishugi says that after leaving the Democratic Republic of Congo at 3 years old, her work at the ranch allows her to reconnect with her lineage.
I'm working in soil, but I know there's soil in Congo, so I'm like low-key communicating with my ancestors too, and we're all talking, and we're over here cultivating red burgundy okra, black-eyed peas that came from like Africa as well, and are traveling through different families in the Americas to be back here on this land.
Brandon says without the physical and spiritual foundation that Sim Wallace and Sarah Buncombe planted decades ago, the ranch would not exist in its current form.
Every word that comes out of my mouth, it is fostered by the love and the wisdom and the compassion and just heart for people that they poured into me and that they lived every single day.
Audie McAfee, KPBS News.
Well, here is a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. President Trump made lowering gas prices the centerpiece of his affordability agenda. NPR's Morning Edition reports on how war in the Middle East is disrupting energy infrastructure. And arts reporter Beth Accomando is joining KPBS Midday Edition to talk about Fiasco Theater's Martleby, a darkly comedic play making its world premiere at the Old Globe Theater. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.